They say don't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to cocktails, the garnish is what catches your eye before the drink even touches your lips. That's why I'm finally doing an episode on garnishes, but not just your typical twist of a citrus peel. Today we'll create 3 garnishes, from ingredients that will typically end up in the trash or down the drain. I'll make onions, pickled in maraschino syrup, blue cocktail paint made with leftover pickle brine, and a grapefruit salt rim from leftover fermented grapefruits. These garnishes will also play a bigger role than just decoration on the cocktail. They'll add flavor and character to the cocktails, so they're not just sustainable but also functional. That's something we focused on in several episodes, where we partnered with our good friends from Fermented Tequila. We've already covered super juice, fermentation, and batching as sustainable ingredients and practices for your cocktail program. Garnishers are cherry on top, if you will. Mehenta's sustainable ethos aligns perfectly with cocktail time, and through their Eco Verde mantra, we aim to echo change in the bartending community, one cocktail at a time. Well, it will be 3 cocktails today, with 2 exciting tequila variations of classic cocktails you really need to try. The sustainable mixology, of course, doesn't end here, so make sure to subscribe below and turn on notification to get notified about new episode each week, when it's cocktail time. Before we start with the simplest of today's garnishes, let's set some ground rules for the garnish game. First and foremost, always make sure you don't serve drinks with dangerous garnishes. Nobody wants to lose an eye when drinking a cocktail because of a pointy garnish, and never use anything that could be toxic. You might know that dry ice is just for show, but the customer might not. I believe it's best practice to use an edible garnish that adds something to the cocktail, ideally aroma or even flavor. That might not work every time, but at least make sure it all ties into the story of the cocktail and its ingredients. If you can use up the leftovers that would otherwise be thrown out, all the better. That's something we'll do today. But think of the pulp from juicing, sediments from filtering, leftover peels, pickling juice, or syrup from candied cherries. Get creative and reuse something that will enrich the cocktail you are making. So not only are you creating less waste, but you are saving money in the process by using something you already have. And since you can usually make several garnishes at once, you're saving on time by having the last part of the cocktail ready ahead of time. Speaking of saving time, this first one will be fast, because we'll garnish a Paloma, which we've made quite a few the last time. So we'll focus mainly on our mix of lacto-fermented grapefruit dust and salt. We've already used these dried and blended leftovers from fermenting grapefruit soda in a previous episode, where we used it to give flavor to a superfoam. This time we'll mix it with salt in a 2:1 ratio by weight, in favor of salt. This will create a unique flavor enhancer on the rim of the glass. It also adds a subtle orange color, which will pair nicely with the gentle pink of Mexico's favorite cocktail, the Paloma. A simple mix of Magenta Blanco tequila, lime super juice, and pink grapefruit soda. No need to cut apart another grapefruit for the garnish. It's already on the rim of the glass, providing bitterness, some color, and an added purpose to the salt rim. The lacto-fermented grapefruit complements the grapefruit in the soda, and it all pairs beautifully with Magenta tequila. A simple, refreshing, but enriched Paloma. Now let's move on to something a bit more hands-on. How many times have you thought about what you could do with all the rich, sweet, flavorful leftover syrup from maraschino cherries? Sure, an old-fashioned or 2 with cherry syrup is fine, but too often it happens that the syrup gets thrown away after you've used the final cherry from Manhattan. Something fun you could do with it is to mix it with vinegar and pickle baby onions in it. It will add subtle cherry and almond flavor, balance the sweetness, and impart some color to our baby onions. And the maraschino onion sounds like a perfect garnish for a reposado Manhattan. So let's start. We'll need the much talked about leftover maraschino syrup, red wine vinegar, water, sugar, salt, red peppercorns for a little spice, and of course baby onions, which I'll start by peeling and placing in small sterilized jars. You can use white or red onions for this. This can be quite time consuming, so ask a friend for help if he's nearby doing nothing. I'll be making these for personal use, so I'm using small 105 ml or 3.5 ounce jars, but you can make this bigger, depending on your needs. I ended up with 350 grams of peeled baby onions and packed them into the jars. The number of onions per jar will of course depend on the size of the onions, but look for smaller ones. Once you're done with that, add 6 red peppercorns into each of the jar for a little spice, plus the red color will fit right in. Then grab a small saucepan and let's mix together the syrup with everything else. So 225 ml or 7.5 ounces of our maraschino cherry syrup, 150 ml or 5 ounces of red wine vinegar. Use some of it to rinse out all of the syrup, 45 grams of water, 22 grams of sugar, and lastly 0.6 grams of salt. Heat these ingredients in a pot and bring to a boil. Once boiling, pour it over the onions, a little below the jar's top. Try to push the onions to the bottom, so they are submerged in the liquid. Then seal the jar with new lids. Jars and lids should be thoroughly washed and pasteurized. It's best to do this with boiling water and an oven. Speaking of ovens, place the sealed jars on a tray and into a preheated oven at 120 degrees Celsius or 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes to seal. After that, leave them in the oven to slowly cool down, and overnight the vacuum should pull the lid in, indicating that the onions are properly sealed. If any of the lids haven't popped, it means air has entered the jar, and the shelf life of such onions is not in months or years, but only a few weeks. Use those jars first. Here's a batch I made previously, and this is what I'll try now. Pickling has a great property that, if done correctly, it only gets better with time, making it a great garnish that can upgrade the cocktail with its balance of sweet and tangy flavors. By storing them in smaller jars, or ones that best suit your bar's volume, we save time and can prepare them months in advance. But let's use them now for a tequila version of the Manhattan, with a pickled onion in place of a cherry. Start with a chilled mixing glass. Before you pour 2 ounces or 60 ml of Magenta Reposado tequila. As with all Magenta tequilas, this was created by one of the most trusted, respected and awarded tequila authorities in Mexico, Master Distiller Ana Maria Romero. Follow that with 1 ounce or 30 ml of sweet vermouth. This will pair nicely with a lightly aged agave spirit. Add 2 dashes of aromatic bitters, or 4 dashes, if you're using a Japanese-style dasher bottle. And lastly, to enhance the flavors, 2 drops of 20% saline solution. Fill the mixing glass with ice. Give it a good stir to chill and dilute the cocktail, and strain it into a well-chilled coupe glass. Now for the garnish. For the cherry on top, place 1 Maraschino pickled baby onion in the cocktail. Cheers! As expected, Reposado tequila and sweet vermouth promise a great start, complementing each other perfectly. Vanilla and honey notes of Magenta Reposado are elevated with the help of vermouth, while the pickled onion, though unexpected at first, adds the perfect finishing touch to the Tequila Manhattan. This is something you need to try. Another fun thing you can try is batching these cocktails, which we covered in a previous episode, but we'll do that again with this one, a freezer Tequila Martini. To serve it, you'll create a cocktail paint made with something that has plenty of flavor, but usually goes straight down the drain, leftover pickle brine. Adding it as a small strip on the inside of the glass, it will slowly add additional flavor and color to our martini, making it increasingly dirtier. To make the paint, you'll only need leftover pickle juice, xanthan gum, and blue spirulina powder. We've already made beetroot paint with pectin on the channel, but xanthan gum proved to be better here. So combine 250 ml pickle juice, 1.8 gram xanthan gum, and 2 grams of blue spirulina in a jar, and simply blend it all together with an immersion blender until you get a thick mixture. Place it in a small jar or jars and in the refrigerator. It's then ready to use. To create your art inside the glass, pre-chill the martini glass in the freezer for at least 15 minutes. Then thinly paint the inner edge of the glass with a blue pickled brine color and place the glass back in the freezer to chill before you serve the drink. You can do this with any brine, so if you love olives, go with that. But pickles are the superior choice when pairing with tequila. With the glasses prepped, we can make our batch Blanco Martini, as always with batching. I'm using grams, and you can find the Magenta calculators on kevincourse.com for scaling this up or down. For a 200 ml bottle, I'm starting with 130 grams of Magenta Cristalino tequila. Magenta's Blanco tequila would of course work as well. Follow that with 67 grams of my favorite extra dry vermouth. This makes a 2-to-1 martini by volume. We're not adding dilution in the bottle, so we can really chill it as cold as possible. What we're adding are bitters, 2.4 grams of orange bitters. And lastly, something that makes even more sense when using tequila, 1.2 gram of saline solution. For these amounts, you could just add 4 dashes of bitters and 2 dashes of saline. Turn the bottle to mix the ingredients and place it in the freezer for whenever you're in the mood for an ice-cold tequila martini. You can of course pre-dilute your martini as well, but if your freezer goes down to around minus 20 degrees Celsius or minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, it still might freeze the cocktail due to the lower ABV. So we'll just add chilled water to the cocktail, right in the glass. So grab your chilled garnished glass, the batch martini cocktail, and some cold water. Start with 3 ounces or 90 ml of the freezer Tequila Martini, straight in the glass. The brine paint will slowly start to melt in the drink. Add 1 ounce or 30 ml of cold water and gently stir the properly diluted and nicely chilled cocktail. Take a lemon peel and express essential oils over the top, but don't place it in the glass, because we already have the garnish. To complement that, I'll serve some cornichons on the side, on crushed ice. But first, cheers! Aroma hints towards a classic martini, but with added citrus and mineral notes of Cristalino tequila. It's fuller bodied, making it more interesting than the classic martini. And as our brine paint melts, the cocktail gets progressively dirtier, adding extra character. Personally, I find that the cucumber complements tequila better than an olive, making this martini one of the best ones I've had. With that, you've made it to the bottom of the glass. Post a pickle emoji to let me know you made it all the way here. Before we wrap up, something that goes beyond just the liquid in these bottles. Mi Genta is the only tequila to earn B Corp certification. This means they meet rigorous standards of social and environmental performance, transparency and accountability, signifying their commitment to creating a positive lasting impact. This is also a carbon neutral product, with labels, bottles and boxes made from recycled materials, in case you needed more reasons to enjoy a great tequila. To make the most of it with the right approach, check out all the episodes we made with Mi Genta tequila in the playlist above. And to finish the episode with a shot of tequila. I believe the Mexican tradition is to say arriba, abajo, el centro, y pa dentro. Until next time, cheers, friends of cocktails.